I'm so thrilled we are able to return to live performances here at MacPhail at Anthony Hall for this season's Spotlight Concert Series. Our opening concert, Bluegrass Rhapsody, will feature a number of phenomenal string players, all MacPhail teaching artists. They'll perform works by Kenji Bunch and Paul Bianco. All of these pieces are inspired by folk bluegrass style of string playing. We're also joined by a wonderful, amazing local poet, Anthony Ceballos, who will narrate some of his own works that have a connection with the music. I hope you can join us for this wonderful return to in-person performance at Antonello Hall.
The focus for this particular series is around issues of being Indigenous, especially locally. And it's just this really, I think, beautiful merging of two very, seemingly separate art forms, poetry and speaking and classical music on a stage, and kind of combining them and letting them exist in one particular space to see and to kind of feel what artistic, unique experience can come from that. And I think it opens up a lot of space for a new way of thinking and for inspiring people to think in a different way. And that's very important. The day the poems failed us begins with an epigraph from Martin Espadas, The Republic of Poetry. It says, "And everyone in the courtyard rushes to grab a poem fluttering from the sky." My mother called me one day to politely ask if poems fell from the sky. She caught one on her tongue that morning, walking to a store or a bar from a house for wayward Indians. Before I could answer, the line went dead. The snow was static, was ash, was a question I could not answer, not in English, not with words, not a thing I could do but cry over paper through a cheap pen. The poems I write will never stitch a woman's heart. The child she'll remember closes the door a final time. The water we drink will only fill our lungs. The oxygen we breathe is only ever borrowed. My mother called me in great distress one morning. A poem was caught in her throat. Felix. Felix the cat was a strange character to me when I was a child in the 90s, and still today. Yet I remember distinctly my bond with a maybe 5-inch tall stuffed replication of Felix in yellow overalls and maybe a little bow tie and that smile that said, "Hey kid, everything's going to be all right," in that drawn-out way cartoons use to emphasize the all right. I'd be lying if I told you I remember how this little permanently happy, mouth always open in a grin cat with human-like qualities came into my life. But I remember like yesterday the moment he left. My first real heartbreak, this tragic loss that haunts me the way Felix's eyes will follow a person around a room until they take down the Felix clock or change the Felix TV show. It was a summer day on a grocery store trip with my mother, wandering around South Minneapolis, my fuzzy little friend in my hands, my companion to have, as we went up and down the aisles looking for that night's dinner. Rice-a-roni, hamburger helper, potatoes au gratin, my little friend and me at the checkout lane, then a quick trip to the library, so quick, then back home. And here is where I'm struck by my vivid memory, the recollection that my fuzzy little buddy was gone. Fear gripping my 8-year-old self, and a tug on the shirt or pant leg of my mother, a cry, a plea, a let's go back and find him, let's go back and take another look, the uncontrollable sobs of an inconsolably sad child. So much so a stranger off the street even joined our little search party as my mother took me all along the library, up and down the sidewalks, every bus shelter, back to the grocery store, doing whatever she could to calm her only child, her joy, her light, her baby boy with the messy hair. What if she lost him? How much would she kick and cry? And though I never found my little Felix again, I will always remember how much a mother truly loved her son. Breakfast for a 5-year-old. For my mother, for all mothers. An egg goes crack into the frying pan, sizzles in the oily pool against a backdrop of black cast iron, alongside 3 strips of perfectly placed bacon. Fills an apartment kitchen with the scent of childhood memories in South Minneapolis. Broken yolks for a piece of toast, resting on a slightly cracked ceramic plate. This breakfast, with a side of hash browns and slightly buttered oatmeal, is more than a daily routine requiring the heat of a 1,000-degree flame, more than a stack of dishes, spoons, and forks soaking in a steel sink of sudsy water. More than the few crumbs caught in that odd space between counter and stove. This breakfast has taken years to create, hour upon hour of my mother watching my grandmother, skillfully adjusting the temperature, oiling the pan, stirring the oats, cracking the shell, making sure the fry bread doesn't burn and set off a smoke detector. A handful of grocery stores through the decades. Sullivan's, Cub, Rainbow Foods on Lake Street. Brown paper sacks carving their way through drifts of Minnesota in December, January until March, and sometimes even April. 9 months of morning sickness, odd cravings, false alarms, and hospital nurses who squeeze hands a little too hard. They want that baby out safely just as much as you do. Not routine, never overcooked or boring. This breakfast is a carefully crafted labor of love for a 5-year-old who can never sit still long enough to finish it. Unsettling. You are my sister. You are my brother. You are my mother. You, my father, begging to be a father. You are my breaking bones, my need to drown in the womb, be reborn as an already dead rose, through dirt on an earth not on fire. This land, this native apocalypse, this your flesh ungendered, your body unsexed. My hair around your hair, our eyes sewn shut as we swim through tar, through molten rock, through a split in our skin, a split through time, through air, through fog, and you who are my sister, you who are my brother, my mother, my father begging to be my father, shoot thorns from your tongue. Watch their Bibles go up in flames. Their English reduced to an ash. Our relations will blow away with a single breath. We will not be silenced. We were never meant to be silent. They cut out our tongues, told us that's the way it is, and gouged out our eyes, but we will not remain blind as we claw our way back home in the dark. Us descendants, us enrolled, us 23.5%, us 67%, full blood, half blood, reservation, inner city, high schooled, college schooled, no schooled, boarding schooled, with our fathers, without our fathers, our mothers in hospital beds, our mothers in nursing homes, our mothers in agony. We will weave our stories together and end this end time colonial settler nightmare. The hands of two brown men are positioned just so, feathers resting against a spider's web, delicate yet severe, waiting to grasp every dream that passes on the other side of an aging bus window, are a brilliant spectrum of the oddities of time. One is scarred, cracked and broken, dried, wrinkling slowly like a leaf trembling at the edge of the sun. The other is a fresh coat of paint layered around a fine wooden frame, a house newly built, waiting for memories, stories to fill its every hallway, its every vein. Each hand has its destination, yet both find each other, talk about what happens when fingers break and nails get torn, palms go rusty and joints become ash. How to let go of a metal handle if it burns, tear a piece of paper if it cuts, hold tightly to a puddle of lukewarm water. Two brown hands on a bus exchange information, silently plan a revolution, crack knuckles and tap a rhythm no one else will understand. One pulls the cord, the other waves a brief goodbye. River call. River calls my mother, grandmother, my father no longer with us. Father, thou art in heaven. His son, my body, their relative. River calls my body back to mother's womb, my mother to her mother's. When river was pure, English a dirt beneath feet that danced, the river calls, earth and animal, sun, moon, tide, blood and flesh. My sisters, Minneapolis, my brothers, the fish. Wind will dictate who will drown, who will swim, whose stories are told, who's forgotten. River calls. Can't you hear? We are coming home.